Sundays have always been sacred to me. It gives me a chance to spend time with my family, with my friends, to focus on my faith. And honestly, We Rest on Sundays is a platform that I've created to help you navigate the complexities of the world. I want to spend time having open, honest dialogue with mentors, friends and family, and individuals that I truly believe are exceptional. We're going to focus on love, career, marriage, parenting, and everything in between. And the primary goal here is for us to become the better versions of ourselves every single day. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on Sunday. Dave, what's up, man? How are you?
Ben, what's going on, my man?
How have you been, bro?
Man, I can't complain, bro. I can't complain. I've been seeing what you've been doing. We Rest on Sundays, man. So I'm finally humble and appreciative. You allowed me to come on the We Rest on Sundays to get this thing together, man. So I truly appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for tuning in and honestly, like, giving me your feedback. I think I'm honored by the relationship and really the man that you've been and the friend that you've been in my life as well. Mm-hmm. Not only are you a Morehouse alum, but you manage Travis Porter, manage 2 Chainz. You also are an avid investor, real estate investor. You're now launching or have launched your own golf platform, Gold Links Golf. And that is exceptional to see the growth that y'all have been able to have in what feels like a short amount of time to me. Maybe it may not be a short amount of time to you. But I really just want to spend more time speaking about your entrepreneurial efforts and really just get into your brain a little bit, revolving around like how you think and how you move and at the pace that you're able to move to hopefully help encourage and really like support entrepreneurs or people that are interested in stepping into entrepreneurial lane as well. But on top of that, you are a father to twins and also a husband. But in your own words, how would you describe David Leeks?
Man, just a humble servant who loves the Lord, man. That's all it's about, making the most of opportunities, trying to figure out ways to get opportunities, and then when I'm in the opportunity, making the most of it. So really, that's really it, man. It's
good, man. Well, tell me more about, I have a front seat view of like your engine, bro. And I think it's a gift from God, but like maybe you deem it as something else. And what I mean by your engine is you create and you have these ideas and you just attack. You go really, really fast. And what I mean by that is like, I've played golf with you and you may take 15 calls on the golf course and have 5 different business interactions and then also be thinking about like whatever may be next for Gold Links Golf. But like, tell me more about like your drive. Like, where does that come from? And like, where do you feel like you really got it?
Well, I am very competitive at nature. So being a competitive person actually drives me. And what drives me more than anything is naysayers. And so that's what really kind of gets me going and it fires me up and take it to the next level. So, I know we'll get more into that, but yeah, naysayers is the biggest coal in my fire to help me, to keep my engine running at a very fast pace.
So I do want to, before we jump into the beginning part of your career, I do want to ask you a question to click down into that because sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy because I keep a running list in my head, right? Like, and that list in my head is the naysayers in reality. So for me, anytime you tell me I can't do something or I'm going to struggle with doing something, I will add that person to my list and like then I'm like going full force at whatever it may be. Is that also how your brain processes it, or how do you process like naysayers and how do you overcome those individuals?
Again, like I gotta have something that I gotta feel like I'm competing, right? So sometimes I'll make fictitious things up in my head for me personally, or somebody may say something to get me going or round me up. And that's what kind of gives me the fuel or the passion rather, to make it happen, right? If it's a situation where, we're just going at a regular pace, it's not, the best for me. Like, for example, playing golf, like I can't really play golf by myself, right? I like wanting to compete against, other people, right? Because golf is a sport of, being one with yourself, nature. You're really competing against the course. You're not competing against everybody else, right? And they say like outside factors can't necessarily should not dictate what you can kind of necessarily do on the course. But I don't necessarily believe that, right? Because, you know, when you're playing with your buddies, you know, you're seeing what they shoot, they're seeing what you shoot, you know, you're going back and forth with banter and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of things that kind of rouse it up and makes it fun and entertaining and, you know, feeds it that competitive edge. That's why I think a lot of people who like to play sports, you know, when they were younger and, you know, as they got older and, you know, matriculated through their careers, I think that's kind of why they kind of find golf. Because, you know, number one, you have to worry about going to the emergency room playing golf, right? But two, it kind of helps, you know, helps you get that itch of that competitiveness, right? And that drive that you need, you know what I'm saying, not only in the business field, but also in, you know, in the gaming field of sports, of sporting. Yeah,
it's good, man. So let's start with, you know, you're a Morehouse alum, right? So you graduated from Morehouse, but you started your career what felt like very fast, right? So for me, I don't want to say the average, but to me, what it feels like the average Morehouse recent college graduate steps into corporate America almost instantly. And that wasn't the path for you, right? And you also, while you're in Morehouse, that's when you started Street Execs, right?
Yeah, so Street Execs was started with the collective of folks, right? It was Alan Parks, Coach Techniques, This is Mathica, and Charlie Jabley. Like we all came together and started Street Execs. Now, Street Execs Entertainment was Alan Techniques, right? They used to do a lot of mixtape distribution in the streets and getting artists to get on their mixtape distributions because Tech was a DJ at the time, so they had the streets. Charlie worked the internet. Charlie had a great follow on internet. He had a independent Billboard charts called Spit Your Game Radio that he was masterful in working the internet and things like that. And then, you know, I came in, I had to work in the college markets and the college demographic because I was, you know, in school doing events and activations and stuff like that from in the school perspective. So we kind of all brought our talents together and we worked together collectively. And that's kind of how it kind of expanded from there.
How did you get tied into them to begin with? Because how old were you at that time period?
I think I was a junior.
Okay. So you're 20?
Nah, I don't even, my junior, senior year, whatever.
Okay.
You know, I'm almost 20 years removed from college, so I can't remember all those things. But I know it was between like my junior and senior year. At the time, we had started this online radio station with a couple of buddies of mine at Morehouse, Poncho, AJ, Aaron O'Brien, GC. Called us, it was called Flavor 450. Initially it was Go Click This Radio. Then we turned to Flavor 450. So when you're new, you're black, you know what I'm saying, you want to create a business, you have to figure out ways to give yourself a competitive advantage. So, you know, Aaron at the time, his mom was she was over at the Woodruff Library. So we kind of housed it at the bottom of Woodruff Library, created this whole ecosystem. Well, first, before we went to the Woodruff Library, it was at 450 Piedmont. Because AJ, Poncho lived, and GC all lived at Piedmont, across the street from the Civic Center, I believe it was. So we started in the basement there, came up with these TV shows, these radio concepts. You know, we had Dakarion, Leah Beverly, Juice Man, Sean P, you know, everybody, Biff Barker. We created these radio shows. So this was before online radio station was actually prominent. Yeah. So at the time they were still doing parties, Goodfellas Entertainment. And we was like, so we started the radio station thing. And everybody, you know, put their money up, we invested in it, we put it together, we started doing it. And as, you know, everybody started graduating, I was the one the last to graduate. Okay. But, you know, when they graduated, you know, life started happening, right? And what I mean by life is like, you know, as soon as you walk across that stage, Silent May calling them, hey, what's up with, you know, this money we loaned you? Like, we need that. So life got real for them. But I didn't understand that because, you know, life didn't get real for me yet because I was still in college. So I was still, boom, yeah, I need $15,000 from Sally Mae this year. I'm putting it in. Please stop. You know what I mean? I'm waiting on my refund check to come in so I can mess it up, you know what I'm saying, August, and try to get another, hopefully my mom will give me something in October, and then I'll wait till the spring and go in for another check, right? So this time we was actually smart about it, you know what I mean? We kind of put it into the radio station. And at the time, we were figuring out ways to give ourselves a competitive advantage. So we started making like fake media credentials and fake passes to give ourselves, a little boost, right? And what I mean by a boost is like, when you reach out to some of these media outlets, they don't take you serious because it's like, who are you? What's your outlet? What you have going on? This was before Instagram, TikTok, 'cause my freshman year was the first year of Facebook. So they were just like, credible outlets were the thing back then. And so if they couldn't, like, if you wasn't rolling out Jet, Ebony, whatever, like, you wasn't getting those opportunities. So we created these media passes to get into the various places. We would go meet people, do great coverage behind it, and then put it out, right? And so by the time of us, knowing how to do our Morehouse thing, speaking well, handling the room, having great conversations, showing how we could be an asset. We would get into these events, have great conversations, do the interviews, and by the time they realized our media credentials was fake, we had already established a relationship rapport to where it was like more like a joke, like this is crazy, versus like, what are y'all doing? Get out of here. So at the time I met this guy at Soul Monkey. It was a clothing line that had just started, that was downtown, and I met Charlie at the Soul Monkey event. At the time he had this website, like I said, Spit Your Game Radio, and it was an independent Billboard charts for independent artists, and we were gonna do Spit Your Game Radio on Flavor 450. And as soon as we were about to crank it up, an artist off his platform popped, which was Soulja Boy. So he was traveling around with Soulja Boy doing his thing.
You're still in college at this point.
And we're still in college at this point. So, I was hitting, because it was supposed to be Pretty Boy Tank, DJ Spins, Charlie, and they was going to do like the Spit Your Game Radio on Flavor 450. So he was traveling around Soulja Boy doing his thing, and then something just told me like, man, just reach out to him. So I was at the house, and I was on Google Messenger, and I just reached out like, yo, bro, how you doing? Just checking in. He's like, it's crazy you reach out to me. Come out of my house, man. Let's talk.
Who is this?
Charlie. Went to his house. We had a conversation. He's like, man, I got this new group that that I'm trying to work. I'm tired of being on the road with Soulja Boy. I want to kind of make a name for myself and kind of create my own label. Well, a own management company at the time. So, all right, cool. So he played me a couple records. I was from this group called Hardheads, and it was cool, right? But it wasn't like, oh man, it's amazing. But he played this one record called The Baddest Bee in the World. And I was like, oh, this is hard. I like that. So, we left the meeting. I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and he was gonna do all the front end business, meaning like the contract, the paperwork, because I was doing all the back end business. Like driving around the shows, being like the one that's out and, kind of getting them together. And I was like, cool. So I reached out to all my guys at, Flavor 450, like, yo, man, like, y'all want to get involved? I got this great opportunity, boom, boom, boom. And they was like, nah, bro, we graduated this, then the third. And then it was a couple guys in particular. It was like, oh man, who this group? Oh man, what is this? This ain't it. You know what I mean? And then there was some other people in particular. It was like, oh man, like what are y'all listening to? Like, what is this? You gonna run around with them? XYZ. I was like, oh, you don't think they hard? Okay, cool. So that's all the energy I needed.
Yeah.
Well, no, let me say that. That was 70% of the energy I needed. So I took my mom's van, started traveling them around, whatever. And my mom was like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I sent you to Morehouse to get a degree. Like, I didn't take out a second, third mortgage on the house and do all this kind of stuff for you to be running around with, taking my van and going around and running around. Like, you need to go get a job. And at the time, I didn't understand that, right? But as I got older and I had kids, you kind of understand like the love that you have for your kids. You want to see them grow and you want to see them, ascend in their career, right? Based on the time frame in which you were an adult.
Yep.
As we ascended in our, leaving our adolescence and becoming, men and women, right?
Parents
and things like that. It's like we don't understand how people make money from content creation and all those various new avenues of things that are going on. And so they don't understand the music and all that kind of stuff. They think, go to school, go to work, work for this purse corporation, get a job, and that's how you're gonna make money to take care of your family, XYZ. I don't understand what you have going on, and because I don't understand it, I don't like it, and that's not the wave, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and so, you know, and I was like, she was like, yeah, you got 6 months. It's like, cool, I got 6 months. I prayed about it.
And this is right after college.
This is, no. This is my first senior year.
Okay, got it.
So what I did was I stayed in college the extra semester, took a Sallie Mae loan out. You know what I mean? And we all, you know, everybody invested into Travis Porter. And then
who started out as the Hardheads.
Yeah, who started out as the Hardheads, correct. So changed the name from Hardheads to Travis Porter. And, you know, took my mom's van. We was going to get $200 here, $300 show, all in the Chitlin circuit. And
per show, that was what you were making?
No, that was what Travis Porter was making.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you weren't even really making anything. You were just keeping yourself afloat with the loan that you took out.
Correct. And yeah, and we was, you know, that was, we was working.
Yep.
And just believing in the vision. And then it was the Miami Tech, Georgia, there was the Miami University versus Georgia Tech football game on Thursday night. And Jim Rohn was the announcer for the game. And Georgia Tech played this record in the actual locker room. And it was getting high, they were getting excited, boom, boom, boom.
Which record?
All the way turned up.
Uh-huh.
And so at the time, my cousin, Jamal Lewis, was playing football at Georgia Tech. He was on the team. They had the record, was playing the record in the locker room, getting hyped before the game. Boom, the game hits. Georgia Tech actually beats Miami in like a very close comeback win in the rain. And every time they would score, they would do a play, they would play the record, and everybody would get hyped in the stands, in the stadium, and all that kind of stuff. So that next day, Jim Rohn gets on the show. It's like, yo, man, I just keep hearing this song, this record. You know what I mean? Like, and it was infectious in the arena. Then he puts it on the show for that season, and it kind of helped take off from there. But then again, like, I just can't discredit the AUC, right?
Yeah. Because
AUC, 90% of the college kids are from everywhere. You know, Milwaukee, LA, DC, New York, whatever. So Atlanta is the great melting pot. Well, the AUC is a great melting pot because only 10% of the students are actually from Atlanta.
Yep.
So it's like, and then Atlanta being the mecca of music, the home. So like when you go back home, everybody's like, oh, what are you listening to? So it happened kind of really on perfect timing. So that took off. People went home. They get the record, and they were hearing what was going on. And like, what's the hottest record in Atlanta? And they were talking about, oh, this record transporter all the way turned up, boom, boom, boom. And you know, it took it home and it kind of propelled it. And shout out to the Kappas too at Morehouse as well. They performed the record at homecoming because Booker and Dean Darden at the time was like, what, you trying to get them to perform? I'm like, yeah. They was like, no, right? And Booker's my man, and you know, he did it out of love and admiration, but it's like, yo, I'm not trying to risk my job for what y'all trying to do out here. So, you know, I reached out to the Kappas, and they was like, yeah, shoot, they could perform at the end of our set. And it went crazy there too. So it just kind of took off. It was a domino effect. And you know, we was just working, man. You know what I mean? We made sure our street presence aligned with our online presence. And you know, it kind of took off from there.
Yeah, man. So I mean, it's fascinating because like having the courage to take the loan out, especially you're getting the pressure, a little bit of pressure from your mom, where she's like, yo, you have 6 months.
No, a little bit. It was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you know, like where she,
and not to cut you off, it wasn't necessarily pressure, it was more so doubt. Right? And at the time, I took it as doubt, and I was like, oh, you don't believe in me.
Yeah,
Like, you don't think that, you know what I'm saying? You don't believe in my dream or what I can accomplish, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing these routines. It's like I told you before, it's two types of people in the world. It's the person who can believe to see, and the person who needs to see to believe. And at that time, my mom would need to see to believe.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't see that vision.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, you know, sometimes it's, you know, disappointing, right? But, you know, in hindsight, I think that she knows the child she raised. So it's like, this is how I'm going to push you to kind of get it to the next level.
Yeah, which is good, man, and invaluable, especially during that season. So you graduated out from Morehouse, and when did you finally recoup some of that money, right? Like, when did it start clicking for you where you're like, all right, like, not only like I can do this, like I'm going to do this? And then when did you start getting tied into like deeper into the industry as well? Like what was the next chapter?
So we, it actually kind of took off for us pretty fast, right? So
What's fast?
I would say, so for example, so the interesting part was we had a hit record, which was the All the Way Turned Up, but it wasn't necessarily our record. It was Roscoe Dash's record, right? So there was a little it was a confusion in between that, you know, that record, because YT, which was an investor in Travis Porter as well, his cousin was Roscoe Dash, and you know, of course, Roscoe wanted to be his own man and have his own imprint, and Travis Porter. So we were trying to figure out how we can all work it together. Ultimately, you know, we split amicably, right? Roscoe went great, did amazing things with his career, and Travis Porter was still doing amazing things with their career, but they were still trying to find a record at that point, which was great because it gave us the opportunity to actually build, right? So like when you have a hit record, sometimes you miss the branding stage of the grinding and the hustle, the mentality of kind of get out the mud so people understand what the brand is. Because sometimes it happens so fast for you, it's hard to catch up, the brand to catch up to the success you have.
Yeah.
So we had the opportunity to now actually continue to put out mixtapes, continue to work, continue to put things together, and it created a brand that kind of still lasts to this day.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. So for you then, like how long were you with Travis Porter, and then what was next on the back end?
So I would say 2009 was a great year for us. That was the year that, you know, between 2009 and 2010 is actually when we started the Street Execs, late 2008, early 2009. And then it kind of took off for us 2010. You know what I mean? And just, it went very well for us.
Got it. So the 09 is the year you came out of school, right?
Correct.
That was your 5th year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
My 5th year, correct.
Yeah, okay. So what did it look like in 09 to 2012? So y'all launched Street Execs. Travis Porter has a few hits at this point. Like, what was the next iteration of success for you?
I would say like it was dope because we all did it together, right? You know, Al, Tech, Charlie, like we all believed in what we thought for ourselves and our vision that we saw for ourselves, and we actually executed on the vision that we saw for ourselves. So what was next for us was to get the record deal. So that's what we was working on, to kind of get the record deal, put out an album, you know, and kind of expand.
Because at this time period, they're 100% independent.
Yeah, they were 100% independent.
And y'all were self-funding as a group.
Collectively,
Yeah.
like, so, you know, Travis Porter, everybody, like we'd do shows, and then, you know, everybody, they would reinvest it and back to, you know,
travel, whatever it may be.
Yeah, travel, CDs, mixtapes, because mixtapes was the thing back in the day.
Yeah,
So we was passing the mixtapes in front of the, you know, the clubs and all that kind of stuff, or shipping them to the promoters to promote them and all that kind of things. So like, yeah, we were just always, you know what I'm saying, investing and recouping, and, you know, reinvesting and things like that. So that was all we were doing in 2009, 2010 until we got signed our first deal. Where was I staying?
Yeah. So for me, like, where were you staying, right? When I think about somebody that's a part of like a street team, handing out CDs, earning, you know, maybe $200-$300 per show before y'all actually get the record deal, how were you able to live and really?
No, I mean, so that's a great question. I was staying right off Lowry, right behind the school. So initially, I was before it got started, I was working at Metro Point Lofts, which was is now Westmar. They actually hired me because I was telling everybody to come stay there, and they was like, "Man, you've been referred to so many people, you might as well get a job." So I was working there, and then, you know, I got the opportunity to use my Sally Mae and work with my mom, and we bought this place on Lowry, right behind the school, and yeah, it was my first time being somewhat of a property manager, renting some of the rooms out to my friends. So that's what we did.
Yeah, man. It's how old were you at the time? Do you remember roughly?
That was my first senior year.
Okay, got it. So you were able to own or be a co-owner, own the house when you were in college.
Correct.
Got it. So that was your first taste into real estate, and at that point, you're like, at least I have a stable place to lay my head every single night.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I didn't want to go back, move back home.
Yeah, heard. So let's transition into like y'all actually landing the record deal. What time frame was that, and then what did that mean for you personally?
It was a great experience. You know, it was to see all of us come together, to see our dreams get accomplished. What everybody wanted was pretty dope, right? Because like I said, a lot of people make great sacrifices to get there, right? You know, Travis Porter was going to MLK. You know, Ali's mom was, you know, doing a lot where they would, she let them sneak them in the strip club to perform. You know, it was a lot of, you know, the friends, you know, helping out, supporting, you know, the skating ring parties that we used to do. It was like a lot of work, you know, hard work, not only just from them, but the city as a whole to see them go to the next level.
Was it, when y'all landed that deal, was that like your first taste of like true success where you're like, okay, like this is something, I'm on to something, and is that what propelled you to continue to stay really in the industry? What I want to get into next is like, because again, you've managed artists like Travis Porter, 2 Chainz, right? Like now you're stepping into like the golf lane as well. So was it that record deal that gave you really the confidence of like, oh, the music industry is lucrative. There's opportunity for me to continue to like earn a good amount of money to advance my career?
Yeah, yes and no. Like when I stepped into it, it wasn't about like making money. It was about proving a point.
To your mom?
Yeah, to my mom and the people who said that it wasn't gonna be anything. You can cut if you want to, but Zarita Buchanan, it was to you too. You know what I'm saying? It was you too. We cut that if you want to.
No, we did not cut anything.
We cut. Well, no. It was not the reason why I said that because she was like, "What? You like this? Like, what is this? Like, why are you playing this? This is terrible. Like, no one listens to this." And then she got to eat her words now. But I like that fuels me.
Yeah.
To say like I told you so, like I know it can happen. I know I can do it. Like I like that more than the money. Like even gambling, like I love gambling, but I don't like the thing of like the money is not what I like winning. It's like saying like I did this, I beat you. I like to see your face. I get to gloat and laugh and like that's what I like.
Yeah, man. So. One, that's hilarious because I didn't know that Zarita story, which is funny. She was down on you when it came to Travis Porter.
Oh, for sure. She ain't believing him.
God. So I personally know that you're very connected into, you know, managing 2 Chainz, and you've had a plethora of opportunities to manage several artists within the music industry. How did that relationship come about? I think it's really dope to see a lot of the plaques that both 2 Chainz and I think you as well have partnered to earn. So how did that relationship come about, and like, how did you continue to advance and partner effectively with them?
Perfect. So my partners at Street Execs Management, Al, Tech, and Jason, they started a mixtape distribution before we started the manager company. It was called Street Execs Entertainment, and they were based out of Savannah, but they had a lock on all of the independent mixtape distributions going. And so what they used to do is consignment with a lot of gas stations and things like that and flea markets. So if you wanted to get like new records and CDs and things like that, back in the day, you would go to the flea market or buy mixtapes out of gas stations and things like that. So they had this one mixtape series called Georgia Muscle, which was very popular, right? And you know, if an independent artist wanted to kind of get their music out there and name out there, they would get with DJs like a DJ Techniques to kind of get their music out there and get their name out there and promoting. And 2 Chainz at the time, Titty Boy, did wanted to be independent, start going independent. Not say independent, but work on his solo career. And he did a mixtape with Techniques. And Techniques has an eye for talent, has an eye for music. And he was like, yo, he's about to be the next one. And he was like, yo, like we gotta figure out how we can kind of get him intertwined and what's going on. And we met with him.
He was independent at this time?
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know what I'm saying, we met him at 5540, Old National, at his studio. And he was like, that's, you know what I'm saying, what y'all do with those, with the kids, that's cool. You know what I'm saying, I'm a grown man, you know what I'm saying? You know, I do a lot in the streets, you know what I'm saying? What can y'all do for me? Like, you know what I mean, that's cool with them, but what can you do for me? And you know, it's like, give us 30 days. Let us just try to see like what we can do in 30 days and, you know, and work together. And, you know, 30 days later, we still rocking it to this day.
What did y'all do in those 30 days?
Well, it was a lot of more so show and improve, right? In regards to putting together a whole project to release the project that he wanted to release. So we put together a whole plan or a project rollout for him to release his project. And, you know, we kind of just with day over day putting everything together. So Al has a knack for the streets and what people like to see and all that kind of stuff. And he put his sauce on it. Tech was putting his sauce when it comes to working the DJs and you know, all the major level and the different, the tastemakers, you know what I mean? Charlie's working the internet and I was putting it in the colleges and the college market. And then we kind of took over from there.
Yeah, you just attacked on all angles.
For sure.
So you proved, so then at the end of the 30 days, was it like, what did that meeting look like? Did y'all have a check-in and you were like, hey?
It was just like, we just kept working.
That was it?
And we just kept working.
Wow. And it's been how long now?
Since 2011, 12, something around there.
Wow, so 14 years y'all been rocking with him and supporting him and managing, right? Is that the accurate term?
Yeah, we a team, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We believe in him as much as he believes in us. You know what I mean? Like, the man is a very intelligent man when it comes to business acumen. As you can see all the different restaurants, real estate, all those type of plays that he's done, you know, in his career. He's a visionary, you know what I mean? Great marketer. So it's like, it was really iron sharpening iron.
Yeah. Because for, like, again, the goal of me trying to get into your brain as well as how you just described him is exactly how I would describe you. Like, I feel like you're a visionary. I feel like you're somebody that's always forward thinking and like really ahead of the trend when it comes to whether it's like starting a new platform, whether it's starting a new brand, whether it's something in the music industry. So do you feel like you've learned a lot of that game from 2 Chainz, or do you feel like that's just been in you your entire life?
I was able to learn a lot from what he does with Al, Tech. But I think the one thing that we all have that is in common is like we know how to turn lemon into lemonade.
Say more.
Like we know how to take an opportunity or just giving a crumb and to feed a multitude. You know, like Jesus did back in the day. It was like he got this loaf of bread and this wine, and we gonna fill the party. It's like we got to figure that out. Like, you know, and I think that a lot of times we're dealing with, coming from humble beginnings. You learn how to do that very quickly, right? And I think that, you know, people coming from humble beginnings understand like the risk, the reward, sacrifice, you know, what to make of opportunity, knowing that, you know, there is no backup plan. It's either all or nothing. Because that's kind of the mentality you gotta have, you know what I mean, to actually kind of get to where you're going. And, you know what I'm saying, having that fortitude to keep going.
So when did you get your first big break, right? Like in the music industry and really financially is the area that I'm looking for you to answer.
When Travis Porter put out, I think, our 3rd mixtape, I think The Streets Are Us, with Go Shorty Go and all those kind of stuff on there. When we were the king of the chillin' circuit, I think that was when it was, you know, we felt very accomplished at that time. We were doing like maybe 4 shows a week, you know, probably even more than that. We would have like 3 shows in a day sometimes. Wow. $15,000 shows, going in, going out, different cities, traveling, you know, having a good time. I think that was when we got our first big break. The first thing I did was I made a very, very black people move. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, it was like I went and bought a red Mercedes. That was the first thing I did. I think I was, now in retrospect, looking at it, I think that was dumb. Because it was dumb. But you know, at the time, it was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that.
But you weren't only, I mean, you say that, right? But then also you start investing in real estate as well.
Now, the first investment I ever did was I paid off my student loans. That was actually the first thing I did before I bought that red Mercedes. I paid off my student loan. Yeah,
so that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that was a big lump sum, I'm assuming.
Oh, for sure. You know how much it was, good morning. Yeah.
So you paid that off, then you got the Mercedes.
Yeah, I went and got that red Mercedes.
And then what were you doing after that, right? Like with the income that was coming in at that time period, were you buying real estate properties and or what I'm really getting at is like, how do you have a real estate portfolio to this day, right? Today. So how were you looking at real estate and or like, and really just like benchmarking that against the industry, right? And what I mean by that, you and I have talked offline about, work in the music industry, your money may come in waves, right? But when you may be during that uphill wave, like what were you doing with the financial piece and the income that you were bringing in?
So all I knew about investing was stocks, right? I knew Edward Jones. Now I wasn't familiar with how to trade and all that kind of stuff. All I knew was like, go get you a Edward Jones advisor, because he was a mentor to me when I was growing up before I went to Morehouse. So I had, when I used to referee or, do various things, I used to go give a certain amount of money to him, right? So I get about 10% offering, because I'm very Southern, right? So, being in the Southern, it's like, when you go to church on Sunday, you're going to get that 10% tied to the Lord. And then you're going to put this other away, for everything else. So instead of that piggy bank, you're going to take it and put it here. So he was a family friend of ours, was his name is Patrick Desimore, mentor of mine. And I was invested with him. Like he didn't, I didn't really know too much about it. All I knew was like take my 10, 15% and give it there and put it away.
Yep.
And then, that was all the investment I knew at the time. As we ascended, and I kind of got around my friends and things like that, meaning like Al, Tech, and all that kind of stuff. You kind of move as the group moves.
Got it.
Right. And what I mean by that is like, so everybody, like when we started really getting some real money, it's like everybody talking about buying houses and things like that. So,
like 6 figures at this point.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm listening, I'm doing my research. They saying, all right, cool, we going, everybody gonna get a house. So now, it's ironic, we all kind of got new houses at the same time or whatever. And then, everybody was kind of pouring in and bringing people in that were financial advisors and things like that to kind of help sustainability from when, we get at this age, we would kind of have something for ourselves. So Al went and found this guy named Dane, helped us get some life insurance, like for the whole group and things like that. And then GC at the time was working at Chase, and he was kind of educating. So we were kind of educating ourselves on the information that we had gotten.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a situation where like we knew this going into it. Like, when I get this check, I'm gonna do this. Yep. Like it wasn't that. You know what I mean? Now, did I have family members who were in real estate and did various things? Absolutely, right? But at the time I was a little nervous because I didn't fully understand it. So I wasn't necessarily in it at that point, in my career.
Yeah. It's really good, man. So like on your end then, when it comes to, you have this money that's coming in now, because I'm assuming at this point, Travis Porter did their thing, they scaled, and then 2 Chainz, like his career really, really took off. At what point was that? What year was that? Do you think that things, not just like, oh, we're doing really well, but where it's like, oh, this is life changing and potentially like generational changing opportunities for us when his career took off?
I think like 13, 14 was a big year for us. That year, like, I think Street Execs management, I think between 14 and 16-ish was a big year for us, right? Because at the time we had like Travis Porter, we had 2 Chainz, we had Bankroll Fresh, we had Young Dolph, we had Schoolie, you know what I mean? So it was like everybody was like, Street Execs was, the end all be all in Atlanta when it came to music and music management. So yeah, that was the time where everything was like, let's figure out what we can do to diversify. But what I will say is like, we learned that team is important.
Yeah. And
building out a team and creating infrastructure is important. You know what I mean? Because the same infrastructure that you have for when you're running one artist, you know, you got to figure out either what the system and process is. If you're going to have, like, let's just say 5 people to do it, you got to have a very tight system process to take on more people, or you're going to have to, or take on more clients, or you're going to have to add more people and create new systems to mimic the system you have for the one client.
Yeah, man. So talk to me more about that, right? Because everything that you've been saying so far today really correlates to the success of the team. And that's what you feel is like y'all moved as a unit. I think it's really dope to hear the story that you shared about, like, hey, they brought in, you know, a life insurance rep. When one person was talking about buying a home, we all start talking about buying a home. Like, y'all really continue to move as one team and one unit. So talk to me about, like, loyalty, and then also just, like, what does that really mean to you, right? Like, y'all been rocking together now 20 years?
Yeah, loyalty to royalty for sure. Is when you have a strong and powerful team and y'all move together as a unit and collectively, you can kind of take down things fast, right? Because everybody has their niche or their relationship, and when it comes together and bring it together, you can kind of accomplish various things, and you can move with a lot more influence stronger.
Yeah, it's good, man. Really good. And I know that you had an opportunity, and rest in peace to young Dolph, to spend time and manage him as well. What did he teach you before he passed? What did you learn from young Dolph?
Dolph was a boss amongst bosses, right? And I think everybody who works in the Street Exec system, works perfectly in the Street Exec system, understands the value of investing in their careers. And when they make money, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna get it from their recoup, right? And him having that, I guess, that street mentality of understanding, like, you know, coming from where he come from, having a little and taking his little and making the most of the opportunities to make it a lot, I think was the power behind young Dolph. And more so, Dolph believed in himself when no one did. Like, meaning, like, he was big on infrastructure, systems, and him and his team, right? Regardless. And, you know, he's gonna invest in himself, and he's gonna believe in himself 1,000 times before he believes in going to partner with anybody else. That's why he stayed independent for so long. Yeah. Like, you know, if, you know, he gonna put the money up for the videos, the merch. When we first met Young Dolph was the first rapper to ever pay 2 Chainz for a feature. He gave him $7,500 and had $250,000 in a book bag walking around. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, he had a different level of prowess and arrogance about himself. And I say arrogance in a good way, right? Because it's like, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. You know what I mean? And I don't have to jump over $1 million for $5. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, Dolph, you know what I'm saying? We gotta, like, it was funny, like, yo, Dolph, man, you haven't been to Kentucky before, right? Let's go there. Let's use another example. You haven't been to DC before. Let's go to DC. Let's go with the hottest promoter in DC. You know, I know you want $10,000 for the show. Let's just do it for $2,500 because you're gonna be, like, it's a look. You're gonna get a look. Nah, I'm cool. I'll wait until he ready to pay me my fee. Wow, you know the fee is the fee. The fee is the fee, you know what I mean? And if you don't want to pay it, I'm gonna keep, you know what I'm saying, working my own campaign, working my own mission until you believe in it. And then when you believe in it, it's gonna be more. But you can pay this $10,000 now, or trust me, it's gonna be more later. He never believed in, you know what I'm saying, doing nothing for a discount. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, you know, that whole team over there, Daddy-O, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, Young Dog, Key Glock, Nick, Rocksteady, you know what I'm saying, them boys go hard. Yeah, man, it's that's a great story, and I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that, like when you have a dream and you believe in yourself, there's almost nothing more powerful. You know what I'm saying? To, like, have that faith and, like, really, like, the fee is the fee, right? Like, I have friends that have, you know, clothing brands, et cetera. And it's like, I don't negotiate with them on the price of their product. You know, like, just buy it to support, because, like, I know what the work that they did to put in to get to where it currently is. And, you know, as a fan, I was able to see the product that Dolph was able to produce, and it was exceptional, you know, which is great, man. So I do want to pivot now, and maybe pivot is not necessarily the right word because you're still in the music industry, but how did you add on really golf to your portfolio of, like, what's next in building this brand? I think the need was found when probably like 6 years ago, when the Tour Championship was looking for a hip hop artist to perform at the Tour Championship. So as you see with the NBA, the NFL, and what I mean by that is like the NBA All-Star Weekend or the Super Bowl, they're kind of big weekends because they bring the cities in to support it and show like, hey, we're here, this is our big thing, and this is our capstone event, which is the Super Bowl or the NBA All-Star Weekend. Come be a part of it. But also because we have all our talent here, we're gonna figure out ways to not only to be integrated into the city and integrated into the culture. Golf has seen the effect of what the culture has had on NBA and NFL, and they're wanting to figure out how they can kind of get a piece of the pie. Because, as we know, the blacks are, one of the largest spenders when it comes to, just everything in fashion. We do our thing when it comes to entertainment and things like that. So it's like figuring out ways that they can kind of be a part of that, those dollars that are being generated. How can they get some? So they started a situation where they started doing a concert before the actual tour, and they used to do it down the College Football Hall of Fame. That was the year they did it. And we were having negotiations about it or whatever, but there were deliverables in the paperwork that you had to understand golf that they wanted you to do.
Like the artist or?
The artist, correct.
Got it.
So they wanted to book the artist for a concert, and then they wanted them to go to the course to knock out various deliverables to kind of show the integration between the culture and golf, right? But you had to understand golf to kind of be a part of that, or to kind of do it right, right? So, because, at the time, 2 Chainz, he's not, basketball is his thing, golf is not his thing yet. It's like, well, let's just kind of kick it down the road. But we're gonna politely turn it down. But there was another artist that took the cake and actually did the event. And
that you did not manage.
No, I did not manage. Correct. So when the deliverables came out, this man has a tee in the green with a driver in his hand. All things that are not
a part of golf etiquette. It's not
conducive to the golf etiquette, And it's like a light bulb went off for me, and I was like, I get it now. You guys the golf wants to be have a relationship with the culture and benefit off the culture, but they don't want to take the time to do the proper research to understand how to get to the culture authentically and do the research to understand that there are different segments and facets of the Black American culture and the Black American experience, right? And it's just one man can't give you the whole culture. And I think that a lot of times with corporations, they think that, all right, cool, I'm gonna just put this rapper or put this artist, in front of y'all, and no matter what your background, where you come from, what you like, it doesn't matter. We put them in front of you, you're gonna buy it. And it's like, no, take time to do the research to understand, or, that's why these D&I programs were put in place, so you can kind of have a level of understanding of what's going on, right? And it's like, all right, we're gonna put this guy up there. And it's like, well, just because this guy shares the same color with the people that represented something, he might not know what the culture is about, or the type of person that you're looking for is about. So you got to spend time on getting the right people in the room. So I'm like, I got it. So what we did was we kind of were looking to find ways to kind of create this ecosystem. So I was like, I reached out to my crew like, bro, I got this idea, but I need, Tony, like, I need you to get in the game of golf. You know what I'm saying? He was like, the game of golf? I'm like, what? Bro, basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hearing you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hearing what you're saying, but nah, bro, I don't know that yet. I'm like, Tony, I'm telling you. So I talked the rest of the team, put together a plan, sent it out to them, you know what I mean? And at the time, like, my team wasn't necessarily on, like, they didn't understand golf. So like, man, just give me a second. Let me figure out how I can kind of make y'all some believers. And that's what that was the fuel. Like, it wasn't like, they didn't tell me like, nah, we cool on that, don't do it. It was just like we don't get it. So I'm like, bro, I gotta figure this out and show it. But that's the beauty of with Street Execs, because if one person doesn't believe whatever, you have the totalitarianism, or you have the ability and you have the leeway to go out and figure it out and prove everybody wrong, to say, all right, this is what we need to do. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go figure it out.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that I went to Morehouse with, Ed Hills, you know what I'm saying? I knew he was in the golf space. I know he played golf at Morehouse or whatever. And I kind of got him, I was like, yo, bro, he aspired to kind of be more into the golf space as well. So like, man, we got to find some people that, you know, kind of resonate, like get me, you know what I'm saying, these players and all that kind of stuff, like educate me on the space. And then once you educate me on the space, then let's kind of put various things together. And I'm gonna build it out from a segment perspective, and then you build it out, and then you find the pieces that we need to add to the puzzle. So Ed Hills introduced me to Roger Steele. And then, you know, we had conversation with him, you know, Roger Steele being a big golf influencer. And I was like, and we were having conversations. So initially I was like, man, we got to figure out, you know, this could be like a yin to the yang, like Chainz, Roger, like, so we can go get opportunities with 2 Chainz, and then Roger could talk the golf and, you know, be like that, you know, that homie that kind of could bring it into space, and we can kind of go attack the lane together. And we just went out and we just went and shot something, you know, real quick. And we just started, like we tried it out, you know, and it just hit.
And now when you say you started, you tried it out under Gold Links.
No. At the time,
It was just, yeah.
we were just trying to figure out like how it could be, like, is it plausible, right? Because, you know, in our eyes, like sometimes like we were thinking that, hey man, like we need a celebrity or whatever like that to kind of, you know, for people to kind of gravitate or be in the space. And then so we were just kind of went and tested it out, right? So me and Roger, we went left, you know, and Ed just having conversations, just talking about it. And then I had an opportunity to go play a course down at Trump International, and we went and played that one, and we came up with an idea concept to just like a funny skit that went crazy. And then
and tell the numbers.
It was like 3 million, you know what I mean? And Butch came down there with us, Henry Bailey, from Morehouse, class of 06. He's a part of Gold Links too. And we all came down, me, Butch, Ed, and Roger came down there. And then it was like, all right, cool. So it was like, man, we gotta start this thing called, that's when we were like, man, we gotta come up with a name, a concept, because these little skits, it's kind of taking off. And we put out another one. And it was like, people really wanna understand the black golf experience. Yeah. Because the black golf is like, we're in our silos, right? For sure. Because, you know, you have all these different influencers that kind of talk to the, you know, the white American space, the cool guy space, you know, all that kind of stuff. But there's nobody that's kind of talking for us and what we got going on in the space. You know what I mean? And, you know, and some of those that do, they really are not necessarily a part of the space and in the ecosystem.
Right.
So that's when we kind of sit down and, you know, I hit Quincy like, yo, Quincy, hey, man, we gonna do this thing. Cause I be beating Quincy so much in golf. I was like, man, it's only right that I'll bring him in, you know what I'm saying, this golf stuff. But funny enough, me and Quincy just dropped his documentary, you know what I'm saying, y'all check that out on Hulu. It's amazing. It's called The Quincy Effect, talking about his, you know, career coming from humble beginnings to where he is now. But me and him play golf a lot, and Quincy gives me that fuel of competition and ego and things like that. So, you know, him being a part of it, he's the coal to the fire to, you know what I mean, to keep it going. So Quincy, Ed Hills was on, Roger was on, Butch was on at the time, and I was like, man, we need somebody else to kind of bring that, to speak to the athlete space. You know what I mean, for like sports. And, you know, and has had a claim on that level. So we were gambling. We was out there gambling on the golf course with my man Tim Jennings. And he introduced us to his homeboy, which was Pat P, Patrick Peterson. And we kind of talked to him about the idea, and, you know, we had conversations. And he was like, bro, like, I like it. Like, I'm about to retire, whatever. You know, this could probably be the perfect segue into, you know what I'm saying, when I get out of retirement, that we can kind of do this, because, shoot, I'm going to be playing golf anyways. I might as well. And it's like, that's kind of how we are. It's like, man, we golfing regardless, so we might as well all come together. So, all right, so we got Pat P and Quincy representing like the athlete segment. You know, I'm coming in representing the music segment. Then we got Ed coming in representing like the golf segment. Roger represents this segment called the inconspicuous segment, meaning like everybody wants to kind of be that guy who can show up as themselves on the course authentically and can play very well, right? And they was like, man, we need some more, like, you know, so we get a little element of added help, right? And, you know, Atlanta is the, you know, I would say the mecca for music. But, you know, you got to go to New York. Like, New York is home. New York is where the money's at. New York is where the culture really started from. So we had another buddy of mine, his name is Billy Jones, you know what I'm saying? He goes for, his name is Swagger Vance, and he calls himself. And it was like, man, when we added him to the crew, so Swagger Vance, he was the Young Bird for a long time, Coy Leray, from the music side. But he's a monster when it comes to like brand partnerships, and that's what he kind of does well. And he was kind of looking for the same thing, like, you know, I'm doing these deals and various things like that. Like, I gotta kind of bring it to the fold of like we can kind of grow this ecosystem together. So like let's just go out there and just figure out ways that we kind of can tell the black golf experience authentically from all different segments of the black golf experience, right? So that's kind of how the whole thing kind of formed. And it's not, I want to say it's not elitist and it's not exclusive. Like we're exclusively inclusive. Like we can play the fly stuff. We have a good time seeing the best of what golf has to offer, but we're not gonna keep it away from any and everybody. Like we're gonna bring it to you. Like for example, like I know you've been to like our Morehouse homecoming tournaments that we do, or you know our mix and masters that we do at Street Execs. It's like we're gonna take you to the fly courses. You know what I mean? It's a course that you might not have the opportunity to be on or be a part of, but we're gonna take all the barrier of entry away. So you don't have to worry about paying for it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna let you know you can have a good time, get your hair down, listen to your music, and let you know like this is the space that you need to be in. This is the space you need to be a part of, and we'll cover all the costs when it comes to the barrier entry. But we just want you to come out there, have a good time, have fun, and let you see what, you know what I'm saying, just a kick it is all about. You know what I mean? So that's really our thing. Like you'll never see us taking you to a municipal course, right? Or a public course. And there's nothing wrong going to a public course, right? But for far too long, we have been alienated from the spaces, right? And never can play the creme de la creme, right? And the people who play the creme de la creme never want to be like, you know what, like let me take my homeboy over to go experience and see it. Why? Because he's scared what's gonna happen to him. If he goes up there and messes up, he's gonna mess the name up for himself. Or he doesn't feel like he has the money or has the decorum to have, or the patience to be like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, come on up here. So I feel like since we have the influence, you know, from where we are sitting, like why not? Why we not go rent the course out and show people a good time and take them barriers away and show like, you see how nice it is? All right, let me show you how to act. Let me show you how to have fun. Because once you become good in golf, you understand the soft skills, you can show up as yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Let's take that barrier down.
Man, one, that story is exceptional. And it is like, if there's anything that put logs on my fire, it's like hearing you break that down, right? Because like, y'all are now creating, y'all are literally shifting the culture and breaking down the barriers of entry. I remember the first time what it felt like when I stepped on a golf course, and I'm not a person that's not gonna read the room and show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I probably overthink that too much, right? But then all the events that I've ever went to that you've put on the golf course, I'm like, oh, I can authentically and organically be Ben. You know, I don't have to show up and be corporate Ben. I don't have to be Chick-fil-A Ben. I don't have to be Deloitte Ben. I can be Ben, right? Which is like myself. And I think that y'all, again, that like the videos and the clips and skits and the shorts and everything that y'all are curating right now through Gold Links, it's like, it feels very much a part of our culture and very much needed during this time period. So it's special just to see like y'all scale, man. And again, I continue to text you and ask you questions about it, or when we're on the phone and I'm asking you 1,000 questions. It's because like, I just see the culture legitimately shifting in real time with y'all having y'all's hands on it and like controlling the narrative. And I think it's invaluable, man. It's needed. And I think it's just really refreshing to see. And you know what I'm saying? I think it's, you know, it's admirable at the end of the day. But so yeah, man, so thank you. I mean, I never really broke it down like that to you, but I would love to know like what's next for Gold Links.
My personal goal, I'm getting 2 Chainz to play golf by the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the call that I gotta. You know what I'm saying? Like he hit me with like, yeah, okay, we be all right. But yeah, no, for sure. But no, I think what's next is, you know, lifestyle. Like we want to kind of show and let people know like what's possible in the space, how to show up in the space, and we just showing the lifestyle and the hang, and you know what I'm saying, how we like to show up on the course and have a good time and have fun. You know what I mean? Like you know, drinking, gambling, playing, going to see very illustrious courses that some of my counterparts at my country club can get on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, those are the type of things that we want to kind of do and illustrate from all various segments. And everybody, like I said, in the crew are champions in their own rights, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, Quincy, Hulu documentary, you know what I mean? Pat P, but probably will be in the Hall of Fame in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. Roger, you know what I mean? He just was the co-host at the Masters, you know what I'm saying? Ed, now he's doing the national team. Billy just got in the Golf Digest about fashion in golf, you know what I'm saying? Butch, partner of the law firm, you know what I mean? So it's like, we just want to show everybody, it's like, yeah, you can have these positions individually amongst yourselves, but collectively together, like we can kind of do more as when we all collectively work together and bring all our resources together to help everybody experience it and have a good time, you know what I mean, mm-hmm. in a fun space. So that's really what, you know, what we try and do. So and like I said, we just go in and just have a good time with everybody. So you know, we got your boy Brandon Burbridge. We got him in a clip, man. It's hilarious, funny. But we so every month we do these long form content, and basically it's almost like a reality TV show, but just going and showing up at various places, having a good time and being ourselves. So that was the one I was talking about with Burbridge. We went to Arizona. So in May we're going down to Bermuda with J-Lo and his clan, and going with the Bermuda Tourism Board to go, you know, experience the golf courses they have out there and things like that. And yeah, we're just doing that and just trying to find ways to kind of grow the game, you know, one swing at a time, right? So, you know, shout out, I don't know if you've seen what we did with Mike Will, we did this tournament, working with Neo, getting him into space, Big Bank, you know what I mean? So we just out there just having a good time and having fun, man.
It's cool, man. It's really cool. Just a few more quick questions for you. Talk to me about the clothing as well. So like, where are y'all currently with the clothing? What are you wearing today? And then what's next?
Cool. So, say that again. Talk to me about the clothing.
Talk to me about the clothing, right? So, what are you wearing today? And then what's next for Gold Links?
Cool. So, like, again, Gold Links is a lifestyle. We're not in the merch business. That's not what we do. We're a lifestyle brand. So anything that deals with culture and lifestyle, that's what we're a part of. So fashion is a part of a culture, music is a part of culture, sports is a part of culture, you know, entertainment is a part of culture. So that's what we do. So we try to find brand alignment and brand partnerships that we can kind of showcase to kind of, you know, show our lifestyle. So we actually did a partnership with Grayson Clothier. Shout out to Pat P. Pat P actually is sponsored by Grayson. And Pat P used his leverage and influence and introduced Grayson, Charlie, and Dane, and Spencer over there at Grayson Clothier, which is a very popular golf brand, to the Golden Links, right? So we came up with this concept called the Golden Wolves. And basically the Golden Wolves is basically a collective of, well, the wolf, let me rephrase it. The wolf represents kingsmakers, right? And I know me and you've talked about it, but a king can't make a new kingsmaker, but a kingsmaker can always make a new king, right? So finding people that have, you know, leverage, influence, relationships that don't mind or are not afraid to use their leverage and influence to open the doors for the next person, right? And so that's kind of what the Golden Wolves is all about, right? And just finding various people who are kingsmakers in their own right, influence, and willing to open up the doors for other people in the golf space.
That's cool, man. It's really dope. Listen, Leeks, man, I want to just thank you for your time and again, like your continued brotherhood and your support. I haven't told you this directly. I'm sure you probably may or may not feel it, but you are top 3 people that I'm like inspired by every single day, with like how you move every single day, how you operate, how you put people on. Like that is a skill set, and it takes a lot of intentionality as well. And you're a man that doesn't like want the light or like take all this credit, in my humble opinion. So for me, I know all of the good that you do for not just like your boys and like the crew, but it's like the community as well and the culture. Because like this, what y'all are building, every single clip, video, word, conversation that I'm having revolving around Gold Links is like, people are like excited. There's a buzz behind it. It is like the next big thing. So I just encourage you, continue to do your thing, man. Continue, I think, authentically and organically being yourself, because it helps challenge me to continue to do the same on my end as well. So thank you for the brotherhood, man. Thank you for everything that you do, and really just thanks for your time.
No, thank you, brother. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.